welcome back to our channel on this beautiful, sunny Tuesday morning. We are thrilled to have you with us once again as we dive deep into the latest drama unfolding in Port Charles. As someone who has watched General Hospital for decades, I always find myself marveling at how the writers managed to reinvent characters we thought we knew inside and out. I know you appreciate the complex histories that flavor every interaction on our screens. Today, I want to talk about a character who has been undergoing a truly fascinating, if somewhat controversial, transformation. I am talking, of course, about Willow. For the longest time, we viewed her through a very specific lens, often seeing her as the perpetual victim or the unwavering moral compass. However, recent events have completely shattered that mold, and I must admit, I find myself entirely captivated by the new, incredibly messy trajectory she is on. The fact that Willow is currently failing to get what she so desperately wants is not just a minor plot hiccup, it is a monumental shift in the narrative that we simply cannot afford to miss. It feels as though the writers are finally allowing her to experience the harsh reality of consequence. Watching Willow grapple with these continuous setbacks provides a deeply satisfying viewing experience, particularly for those of us who have felt she has been shielded from reality for far too long. For years, she has been buffered by the wealth and influence of the families around her, insulated from the true fallout of her own decisions. Now, however, the protective layers are peeling away, leaving her exposed and increasingly frantic. When a character accustomed to having things align in her favor faces roadblocks, her true nature is revealed. I find it utterly fascinating to observe how Willow's usual composure is fraying at the edges. She is no longer the quiet, agreeable presence. She is becoming unpredictable, driven by a simmering frustration that threatens to boil over at any given moment. This is the kind of character development that rewards long-term viewers, as we can clearly contrast her current desperation with her past passivity. This escalating tension brings me to one of the absolute highlights of recent episodes, which is the explosive confrontation between Tracy and Willow. Tracy Quartermain is an institution within Port Charles, a woman whose razor-sharp wit has shaped generations of her family. When Tracy sets her sights on someone, you know you are guaranteed spectacular television. The bitter argument between these two women was a masterclass in generational conflict and ideological warfare. Tracy, with her fiercely protective instincts regarding the Quartermain legacy, sees right through Willow's lingering facade of innocence. I could not help but cheer a little when Tracy unleashed her unfiltered opinions, because she was voicing the exact frustrations that many of us in the audience have been harboring for months. Tracy does not suffer fools, and her refusal to coddle Willow is exactly the catalyst needed to push this storyline into overdrive. The dynamics of that specific argument are worth dissecting in detail, because it was about so much more than just a surface-level disagreement. It was a fundamental clash of entitlements. Willow, perhaps unconsciously, has come to expect a certain level of deference and accommodation from the family she married into. Tracy, conversely, demands that respect be earned through loyalty and strength, qualities she feels Willow is currently lacking or misdirecting. As I watched them trade verbal blows, I was struck by how brilliantly the writers used Tracy as a mirror to reflect Willow's own unraveling state back at her. Every stinging remark from Tracy chipped away at Willow's fragile armor, exposing the immense insecurity underneath. It is in these highly charged, intimately antagonistic moments that General Hospital truly shines. Tracy's absolute refusal to back down forced Willow into a corner, and a cornered Willow is proving to be a very dangerous creature indeed. All of this friction leads us to a collective, undeniable anticipation of Willow's impending downfall. There is a distinct thrill in watching a character perched on a moral high ground finally lose their footing. For a long time, Willow's storylines were heavily reliant on her suffering at the hands of others, casting her as the perennial martyr. But this current narrative arc is entirely of her own making. The mistakes she is making, the alliances she is considering, and the bridges she is burning are all active choices. As a critic, I believe this is a necessary deconstruction of her character. Before she can be rebuilt into a more mature, multifaceted individual, the existing flawed foundation must be torn down. The momentum is undeniably shifting toward a spectacular collapse, and the writers are expertly laying the groundwork for a truly devastating reckoning. We are waiting for the other shoe to drop, and the suspense is positively delicious. The catalyst for this ultimate downfall seems to be tied to a shocking new development, which is Willow's burgeoning connection with the enigmatic and dangerous figure known only as Z. This is where the storyline transitions from a simple family drama into a high-stakes thriller. Why would someone like Willow align herself with such a shadowy entity? From my perspective, it is a testament to her utter desperation. When traditional avenues fail, and when the people she normally relies upon turn their backs, or, like Tracy, actively oppose her, Willow is seeking power and agency wherever she can find it. Z represents a shortcut, a way to bypass the obstacles that are currently thwarting her desires. However, it is a classic Faustian bargain. I find it incredibly compelling that Willow is willing to compromise her deeply held values for the illusion of control that Z promises. It shows a profound shift in her psychological makeup. The nature of this new alliance with Z is deeply troubling, and it introduces a fascinating power dynamic that I am eager to analyze. Willow likely believes that she can manage Z, that she can extract what she needs from this arrangement without being consumed by it. This is the ultimate hubris of a character who does not fully comprehend the depth of the waters she is wading into. Z is not a benevolent benefactor. Z is a master manipulator. As I watch this connection deepen, it is abundantly clear that Z is slowly but surely isolating Willow, subtly influencing her thoughts and decisions. The control Z is exerting is not necessarily overt or physical. Rather, it is a psychological conditioning, a slow poisoning of Willow's perspective. She is being led to believe that Z is the only one who truly understands her predicament, the only one who can offer a viable solution. This kind of coercive control is terrifying to witness, yet it makes for incredibly gripping television. What is even more alarming is how this connection is manifesting as a deep-seated obsession within Willow. She is becoming fixated on the power and the possibilities that Z represents, to the detriment of everything else in her life. This obsession is blinding her to the glaring red flags and the mounting collateral damage. I see this obsession as a coping mechanism. By focusing all her energy on Z and the machinations they are plotting together, Willow can avoid facing the painful realities of her failing relationships and her own internal moral decay. She is chasing a high, the thrill of finally taking proactive, albeit destructive, steps to secure her future. This obsessive behavior is a stark departure from the Willow we used to know, proving just how deeply Z's influence has penetrated her psyche. It is a brilliant, dark turn for the character, showcasing the dangerous lengths to which a desperate person will go. Naturally, this dark path brings with it a tremendous amount of danger, not just for Willow, but for everyone in her immediate orbit. The adjustments she is making to her life, the secrets she is keeping, and the lies she is spinning to accommodate Z are creating a highly volatile situation. I often find myself wanting to reach through the screen and shake her, to wake her up to the immense peril she is inviting into her life. The tragedy is that she must walk this path to its bitter end. The danger is not merely physical, although with figures like Z involved, that is certainly a distinct possibility. It is also profoundly emotional and reputational. When the truth of her alliance inevitably comes to light, the fallout will be catastrophic. She risks losing her family, her children, and whatever shred of respect she still commands in the community. The stakes have never been higher for her, and the tension is escalating with every single episode. The ripple effects of Willow's reckless choices are already beginning to spread, and one of the most significant casualties in this impending explosion is Drew. Drew's involvement in this messy web adds a layer of tragic complexity to the story. I have always found Drew to be a character driven by a deep need to protect and to find a sense of belonging. His connection to Willow, whatever form it currently takes, makes him incredibly vulnerable to the fallout of her actions. Drew is unlikely to simply stand by if he senses Willow is in trouble, even if that trouble is of her own making. This protective instinct is precisely what makes him such a prime target for the danger that Z brings. I worry deeply for Drew because he is walking blindfolded into a minefield. He does not know the full extent of Willow's deception or the true nature of the adversary they are facing. His inherent goodness is being weaponized against him, creating a deeply sympathetic subplot. Adding fuel to this already raging fire is the involvement of Brennan. Brennan brings a level of sophisticated international intrigue to the canvas. His presence in Port Charles has always felt like a ticking time bomb, and it seems that Willow's chaotic trajectory is the spark that will set it off. The intersection of Brennan's secretive world with Willow's desperate alliance with Z creates a truly explosive combination. Brennan operates on a level of ruthlessness and strategic planning that Willow cannot even begin to fathom. If Brennan perceives Willow, or her connection to Z, as a threat to his own objectives, he will not hesitate to eliminate that threat. I am utterly fascinated by how the writers are weaving these seemingly disparate characters together. The collision of Brennan's calculated coldness with Willow's frantic emotional state is a brilliant narrative choice, elevating the stakes from a local family dispute to a high-stakes game of survival. We are now looking at a deeply intertwined triangle of danger involving Willow, Drew, and Brennan. This is where my excitement as a longtime viewer truly peaks. The storyline builds layer upon layer of tension. You have Willow acting as the chaotic, unpredictable center, driven by obsession and the manipulative influence of Z. You have Drew, the protective, loyal figure who is being drawn into the darkness against his better judgment. And you have Brennan, the wild card, the formidable force who could either be an unlikely savior or the ultimate destroyer. The fact that Willow's actions are directly responsible for placing Drew and Brennan in such extreme jeopardy is a testament to the massive scale of her impending downfall. The danger is real, it is visceral, and it is entirely inescapable. The impending explosion is not just metaphorical. It feels as though the very foundations of these characters' lives are about to be blown apart.